Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Source, your Ascendancy Hotline, and your daily dose of spiritual guidance, where we dive deep into real life questions and struggles using ancient wisdom and universal principles to find clarity, peace, and alignment. Whether you're navigating relationships, inner conflict, or seeking purpose, this is a space where we honor our journey with compassion, non-judgment, and insights. Drawing from the universal laws, A Course in Miracles, the Law of One, and the Hermetic Principles, we are here to help you find the answers, connect with your truth, and elevate the path to healing and growth. Let's get into today's letter and connect with the wisdom of Source. And today's letter reads, Dear Source, I'm struggling to find balance between my spiritual practice and the modern world, particularly when it comes to Western medicine and processed food. It feels like the two things are completely at odds with my spiritual values I hold dear. I'm trying not to be paranoid, but the more I read or listen to, the more I feel like these aspects of modern life are harmful and even poisoning us. I know that fear and negativity aren't helpful to my spiritual growth, but it's hard to shake the feeling that everything around me, especially in terms of what I consume, is working against me. How do I discern what's right for my body and spirit without falling into fear or judgment? I want to find peace with these modern realities without compromising my spiritual journey. Please help me navigate this balance. Feeling conflicted. So, what a great letter. And thank you, Feeling Conflicted, for taking the time to share what's on your heart and what you're feeling and how you're feeling as far as, that inner conflict, like things feel at odd. And I think this letter is a great like spirit's like, yay, just in my head, cheering us on of what a great reflection. And I think as I read through that letter and connected in, what you've already kind of really distilled and really discerned for yourself what you know to be true. So how do you lean in and really trust that? How do you lean in and trust that you already know what you feel to be true? And not that it's paranoid or there's something wrong with you, but really embracing that element of you already know, and I know it feels like sometimes at odds, but there's something internally that you already know to be true. And in that knowingness, you have to then honor what that is. If that means you choose not to consume packaged foods, if that means you choose not to go to the doctor, except if you're maybe bone breaks or something like that happens, that is where you've got to use that internal GPS, that internal compass that God gave you to really fall in line with that question. Like, you already know. And our ego is so subtle and it wants to gaslight us. And I think there's also a lot of noise in the external world, and it's our ability to qualify that information and go, okay, what do I hold and know to be true? And if I know that what I hold is true is my body is a temple, my body, literally the DNA within my body spells God eternal within the body. And my body is miraculous and my body's self-healing. And there's quite honestly nothing more miraculous than the human body. it is doing things right now as I speak to you within my body that I'm not even having to think about. It's regenerating cells, it's breathing, it's pumping blood, it's doing all the things like not consciously, but subconsciously to keep myself alive. And it's self-healing. It can heal itself. It is it's the most miraculous thing ever. And so for you to know that and to acknowledge that and to know that what you put into your body matters. Everything that we do is energy. Everything that we do is a vibrational match. So if there's things that it's like, that doesn't make me feel good, then know that that's not a vibrational match for your body. What belongs in your body? That's the question I think you're kind of asking yourself is like, what truly belongs in my body? Does heavy metals does medication, like what belongs in my body? And if the answer is, I want organic things that are like my body, that are made up of my body, similar in makeup, then I would honor that's your discernment of what you put in there. So just what I would reinforce in this episode or message, and I'm not here to get on, there's lots of resources out there and a lot of different people to listen to. And I notice that this is very much trending right now in just what I see out in the ethers of what people are talking about. But I think it's really leaning in to going, what do I know to be true? And some people, and you just got to listen to what your internal compass is telling you. And so for me personally, I'm much more in alignment with seeing food as an energetic match. And when I align and eat more high vibrational foods, let's say fruits, vegetables, nuts, things that are of the earth, that come from the earth, that were produced to sustain us, I feel better. I feel lighter. I don't feel as depressed. If I choose to eat stuff that, I love gummy bears. I'll just share that I love gummy bears. And no, I don't feel as good because they're not organic. They're not naturally made. They don't come from the earth. So I try to eat, very much high vibrational things that are of the earth. And I actually don't eat a lot of meat. I don't eat meat. I eat eggs. I drink raw milk from the cow. So what our animals produce for us. I eat a lot of like homemade yogurt with honey that comes from bees, with fruit, not with vegetables. So I just have chosen to go, okay, how do I feel? What vibrationally aligns for me? And how do I feel after that? So it's all a personal choice. I think it's, are we waking up to, how do I feel? My body's a temple, and how am I fueling that temple with what I'm putting in there? I know yesterday we talked about like substance abuse and alcohol, and all of those things affect your energy. They're a depressant. They're not high vibrational. So when it's like, you don't feel high vibrational after you've maybe had the high, that's an indication like maybe that's not meant to be working in your body. So I think you have to tune into that. I think if you're not into taking a bunch of drugs prescribed to you by your doctor or Western medicine and finding natural alternatives, I think you have to lean in and like, why is that voice there? And one thing that I did see, not to, add controversy, but it's like, there's a drug manufacturer that's been around for 175 years. And it's like, what disease has been cured by them? So also look, like, part of the reason why I think some of this is starting to become uncovered and starting to become topics that are mainstream is because we are becoming more discerning as a human collective. There's an opportunity for us, just like you wrote in, feeling conflicted, for us to become more discerning about what we're doing and how does that impact us. Because I think we were kind of asleep before. And I also think we weren't given as much information before to make informed choices about what feels aligned with us. So it's always a personal decision. I think you always have to look at, what we are putting into our temple. What is that actually doing? And if what I'm putting into my temple, chasing some like immediacy or lack to feel better, versus like, like I'm all natural. So like when it comes to like, let's say I get a cold, how I see colds is that everything is related to our spirituality. So anytime we have disease, it's dis-ease. We're not at ease. There's something going on where we're trying to align. We could be ascending. We're upgrading. Our bodies are upgrading. As our energy upgrades, our body has to upgrade with that. So that means we're also going to have physical symptoms as part of that ascension. So let's say you have a sore throat. That might be because you have a blocked throat chakra. There's something you're working through where it's like, I really need to speak my truth. Pay attention to what's going on in your world. And then how is that correlated with your body? And I know I get a lot of people that reach out and they're like, this is what's going on. And I'm always like, look up the spiritual meaning of what that symptom is, and they're like, oh, wow. Like, that's what's going on there. So there's always an element of of what's going on with you spiritually that then's correlated with your body. And so I think there's a reason why this is all coming up. And I think it's presenting ourselves as a tool for our own discernment, a tool of our own lessons, our tool of like, what do I know to be true? And am I willing to hold that truth? Even maybe if it's an unpopular opinion, So like when I get a cold, I'm typically not taking, over-the-counter medicine. I'm not typically taking anything from the doctor. Typically, I'm not going to the doctor. But that's me. I use a lot of natural remedies, essential oils, things that are of the earth. Frankincense is, miraculous. So find what feels right for you. Lean into that. Trust yourself. Trust what you know. Trust that you have gotten this information and these downloads for a reason. And how do you honor that within yourself? So I say hold true to what you know. I'm not here to be the advocate that says this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. I think you have to use your internal discernment to go, okay, what am I putting in my body? And does that match what my body wants? Is that a vibrational match? How do I feel after I do that? You don't need to punish yourself, but maybe you just make the choice of like, I'm not going to have that again. I don't like how I feel after I do that. All of it's a choice, but I would say become familiar with what you are putting in your body, because your body is your temple. It is everything that we put in there is affecting our vibration. Like, that is the one thing unequivocally that I would share and advocate for you. So if it's making you feel, high vibrational, and that, I'm not saying good, like where you feel aligned, you feel energized, you feel in your body, you don't feel sluggish, you're not feeling any negative symptoms, I say, like, follow that, trust that, and see your body as a temple, not as some form of, you have to have some perfection in the way it looks. Lean into what feels really good. And so I would just say, continue to be very, very discerning about what you put in there. And I think there's some great ethical companies out there that, if you're taking supplements, stuff like that, to look into, that are good, ethically sourced, high vibrational, that actually support you on this spiritual journey in your 3D body. And so I just would become an advocate of learning as much as you can, understanding what's going on, and discerning, does that belong in my body? And knowing that your body is the temple of God, does that align with that? And so I love this question. I think there's a lot, like you said, out there today. I think a lot of people are talking about this right now. And I think it's an opportunity for, as part of our spiritual journey, to wake up to it and to really understand it and see where it aligns. So, feeling conflicted, you don't sound conflicted. I think it's, how do you quiet the ego and trust what you already know and stand in the truth of what that is? Own it. Own that this is the way I want to live my life. This is what I'm putting into my body. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Whatever anybody else is doing or putting into their body is affecting their own vibration. And we're not here to, we're not here to save the world. We're here to discern for ourselves and make decisions. And when we all start to do that, we then give access to everybody else to be doing the same. The way we change the world is by changing ourselves. So continue to just go inward, continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to ask the questions. And if I didn't answer your question of what you were looking for, please reach back out. I'd love to connect more, but I think you are on the right track. You are really tapped in. And I think the opportunity is just to continue to lean in more, to trust yourself of what you are discerning. That's the greatest gift that God gave us, is our wisdom, our ability to discern. And we only learn that through our human experiences and our lessons. So continue to trust yourself, continue to lean into that, and continue to be okay with making the choices that you're making, even if they don't align with maybe the vast majority of other people. And you're not here to convince anybody other. You just have to make the choices that are best for you. So, feeling conflicted, thank you so much. Such a pleasure to connect with you. And please reach out. Friday, I'll answer any questions anybody has about the episodes this last week that have come up, and talk about what's coming up the following week as well. So I want to thank you for joining me today on this episode of Dear Source, where we align spiritual principles with real world experiences. Remember, no matter the challenges you face, peace, clarity, and wisdom are always available when you connect with your higher self. If today's discussion resonated with you, and you're seeking deeper personalized guidance, I'd invite you to book a private session with me. Together, we can explore your spiritual path and unlock the answers that you're seeking, as well as like, share, subscribe if this resonated with you. And if you'd like to connect with a like-minded spiritual community, coming soon, we have the Ascendancy Collective, where we support each other in our growth, healing, and ascension. You don't have to walk this path alone. Join us and let's rise together. Until next time, trust the process, honor your truth, and stay connected with Source.